The head chef of the city's fanciest restaurant was an evil genius.
He had concocted a recipe that he claimed could turn people into dwarfs.
Everyone who heard about it laughed and thought he was crazy, but no one imagined how far he would go to prove his theory. One night, while the restaurant was closed, a group of unsuspecting diners arrived. The wicked chef welcomed them with a smile and served them his special dish. The customers were filled with delight and eagerly ate the meal. To their surprise, when the diners finished their meals, they started to shrink. When the chef saw the results of his experiment, he couldn't contain his excitement. He laughed maniacally as the diners turned into miniature versions of themselves. Noticing the horrified expressions on the tiny guests' faces, the evil chef decided to put them in cages and display them around the restaurant for all to see.
He placed signs around the cages announcing, "The world's smallest humans."
Word quickly spread throughout the city about the evil chef's new attraction. Crowds of people showed up to get a glimpse of the strange sight. The more people he attracted, the bigger his ego grew, and the more outrageous his experiments became.
He wanted to expand his audience, so he started charging admission to view the caged humans.
People paid good money to watch the show, and it seemed like the mad chef's evil plan had worked. Members of the media soon caught wind of the strange situation, and reporters swarmed the restaurant to get the scoop. The chef proudly explained his unusual culinary feat, unaware that his wickedness was coming back to bite him.
Right when it seemed like the chef's fame was going to skyrocket, animal rights activists raided the scene with lawyers in tow.
They demanded the dwarves be released from captivity, as this was in violation of basic human rights. Embarrassed and angry, the chef raged at the activists before being forced to open the cages and set the tiny people free. Though some of the rescued dwarfs returned to their previous sizes, others still remained small due to the permanent effects of the sinister dish. In an act of justice, the organizers had the chef arrested for his cruel deeds. As he sat behind bars, he reflected on his choices and regretted ever trying to carry out his nefarious plan. Public sentiment towards the chef changed drastically, and people branded him a criminal.
His once admired restaurant was now deemed off-limits. Still determined to make his way back into society's good graces, the devious chef began formulating a plan to also redeem himself from the public's eye.
He started looking for ways to help those affected by his unhappy experiment, and found a charity organization specializing in assisting dwarves. He contacted the directors and proposed a partnership to raise awareness and provide assistance to any permanently short victims of his disturbing scheme. The board of directors agreed to accept the villainous chef's offer and gave him a chance to regain some dignity. With the charity's help, the wicked chef was able to host a number of events where he cooked meals for dwarfed guests and taught them food basics like cooking and nutrition. He even went as far as setting up a program offering scholarships to children with dwarfism so they wouldn't have to struggle to afford college education. Gradually, the public started to forgive him as they witnessed the difference he made in the lives of those impacted by his actions. Although redemption wasn't a smooth ride, the former evil chef managed to prove that even someone with a shady past can make real positive changes. His story inspired many people to follow suit and become ambassadors for good. With his newfound goodwill, the repentant chef wrote a book about his journey titled A Dwarfed Life. It sold thousands of copies across the country and made its way onto the bookshelves of top universities. The former chef used the funds from his book sales to purchase a building near the city centre to establish a kitchen specifically dedicated to teaching cooking to people with disability. His efforts didn't go unnoticed by the mayor either, and he was awarded several honours for his outstanding work in community service and disability advocacy. The once villainous chef had transformed into an inspiration, using his power and influence to promote kindness and acceptance.
Years after his wicked experiment, he emerged as an unlikely hero and a symbol of transformation.
The former evil chef proved that even the darkest of villains can change their ways and become the heroes of their own story.